Hey everyone, today we are going to talk about agency law for the regulations section of the CPA exam. We're going to hopefully knock this out in about 5 minutes, and then you can do your questions that are listed below, and then we'll work them. And this is from the Wiley CPA Review online test bank. And agency law is basically when you appoint someone else to represent you to a third party, like an athlete and a sports agent. And an agent has to be a fiduciary of the principal, which means that they have to act in their best interest always. And there's three types of authority. There's expressed authority, where the principal says, okay, agent, you can go do this. And there's implied authority, which says, okay, agent, you have this expressed authority to go do this, and it's implied that you also have the ability to do whatever it takes to get the job done. So if someone runs a store, it's implied that they have the ability to sign off on deliveries. Then there's apparent authority, which is all from the perspective of the third party, and expressed and implied authority doesn't really come into play with this. If someone used to work multi-million-dollar deals as a sales rep, then they get fired, but the third party doesn't know that they've been fired, so the person shows up one day and works another multi-million-dollar deal just like they've always done. Well, the expressed and the applied authority have been exhausted, but apparent authority still exists if the third party has a reasonable belief that their authority still is in play. And so then the principal has to get word out that, hey, this person doesn't have authority anymore, and then the apparent authority should cancel out. Then there's contract, or with an agency relationship, no contract is necessary. Really, all that needs to happen is there needs to be consent, which is a meeting of the minds. The principal says, hey, I want there to be an agency relationship, and the agent says, yes, I want to be your agent, so there's consent. Now, in an employee-employer relationship, the employee is an agent of the employer to the extent that they hold the employer liable for torts, which are civil wrongs. So as long as the activity was within the scope of their employment. So if a person is employed as a delivery driver and they're driving down the road and they get into an accident, both the employer and the employee can get sued if they hurt someone. And they can both be sued individually, or they can both be sued at the same time. And it doesn't matter if the employee was disobeying orders. The employer said, hey, never drive down the highway. I want you to always take side routes. But they broke the rules and went down the highway, then hurt a bunch of people. The employer is still on the hook for that. And then an agency relationship doesn't have to be in writing as long as it doesn't fall within the statute of frauds. And the two main things with the statute of frauds are, can the agency business be completed within 1 year? If it's less than a year, no writing is necessary. If it's more than a year, if it's going to take 1 year and 6 months, it has to be in writing. Or if they're working out the sale of real estate or land. Those are the two main topics for the statute of frauds in regards to agency. And then finally, when you have a power of attorney that says, hey, I'm going to be incapacitated in the future, so I want you to handle my business for me and serve as a power of attorney, that has to be in writing, but only the principal has to sign it, the person who's about to be incapacitated. And the principal can grant general authority or restricted authority. You can only do certain things. So now what I want you to do is to hit pause and work the questions that are listed below on Another71.com from the Wiley CPA Review Test Bank. Work those and then come back, and then we'll go through them real quick. Okay, number one is A, no contract is necessary. Number 2 is A. It requires a meeting of the minds and consent to act. Number 3 is D. An agency for the forthcoming calendar year, which is entered into mid-December of the prior year. It has to be in writing if it falls within the statute of frauds, which means that it cannot be completed within a year. Right. Number 4 is C. Both the principal and the agent have to consent to the agency. Number 5 deals with agency coupled with an interest, and basically that says that the agent has an interest in the business of the agency, so they have something at stake, and so the principal cannot terminate the agency relationship early. Only the agent can do that in an agency coupled with an interest scenario. So the principal just can't shut it down and leave the agent hanging, basically. Number 6 is A. When a borrower has to put up some assets for security to a lender, the lender an agency coupled with an interest relationship happens. So A, the answer A, borrower shall pledge securities to a lender which authorizes the lender to sell the securities and apply the proceeds to the loan in the event of the default is the answer. 7 is A. A power of attorney may limit authority to specific transactions. 8 is A. When you have an undisclosed principal, even though the principal isn't disclosed, as far as the agent is concerned, the implied powers are still applied because they have expressed authority, and in order to accomplish what they are expressly permitted to do, they have to exercise their implied authority to be able to get it done. So implied authority does not change with an undisclosed principal. 9, A, the third party may recover damages from either the employer or the employee or both. The incident happened within the scope of the employment, which doesn't matter. Or sorry, that does matter. If it happens within the scope of their employment, it matters. It doesn't matter if they were following directions or not, as long as they were operating within the scope of their employment. Then then the employer is on the hook as well. Finally, 10 is A, the injured driver. Injured driver can recover from either Lund or the employee or both. I hope this has been helpful. If you want to work more multiple choice questions, check out the Wiley CPA Review online test bank on Another71.com. They're cheap. They're only like $87, and which is a steal. So hope this has been helpful. Hope this helped you understand agency a little bit better or reinforce what you already knew. So I'll talk to you soon.